All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 21 of the Chinos show. My name is CD. I'm coming at you from Norman, Oklahoma. And the weather out here, it's been pretty cold the last week, but yesterday, God decided to piss on us and, have supercells all over the place. So, yeah, it's been a bit rainy the last 24 hours. Not anything super severe or anything. So, it's been pretty chill out here.
What about where you're at, Blaine? What's it been like? What's the weatherman like?
Oh, today was just the UV was all over the place. I don't know if you can see it. The UV index just insane.
Trying to impress.
Yeah. Well, we have guests here. Look at this. I got a big old tan line. I was outside for less than 2 hours. I even got a watch tan actually.
Nice.
I'm gonna come back to that sunburn in a little bit, Blaine.
All right. But yeah.
Kayla, what's it been like where we live?
Yeah, rainy and kind of warmish, but mostly heavily rainy for the yesterday. But rainy and cloudy, I guess, be a good way to describe everything.
Yeah, it's been kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Yo, what up, Badger? Okay, about Blaine's sunburn. Blaine asked me earlier today. He goes, "Yo, why does my arm burn when I'm sunburned? Like, why does it physically? What did you say? What did you say, Blaine? Why does it radiate heat or something?"
Yeah. Why is it?
And I know the answer. Do you guys know the answer to this?
Honestly, I do not.
I conveniently saw the answer to this on Reddit like yesterday too.
Like why it's warm to the touch?
Caleb,
Yeah,
were you
yeah.
here when we talked about this, or?
I don't think so.
I think we
No.
were
Okay.
playing Rant, just me, you, and Michael. I think.
I would assume just inflammation, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I
So-
don't think my arm's any bigger.
There's two things about sunburns. One, yeah, it's inflammation because the immune system's working hard, and the immune system is working hard by all those cells killing themselves because they don't want to become cancer. And then the immune system has to sweep up all the dead cells from the skin because they're like, oops, gonna turn into cancer, gotta commit seppuku, and they do.
That's why we peel.
Yeah, that's why your skin falls off.
Makes sense.
Pretty pog.
Well, I applied lotion so that
So you
hopefully
do get
that wouldn't
cancer.
happen. Yeah. I want to trap that sun in me. Get enough sun so I can become my own star.
You know the worst kind of sunburn is when you put sunscreen on, but it's like out of date or something, so it just makes
just-
streaks all through your body. Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh
I-
man.
I went to the A&M had a scrimmage game today, and I went to that. That's why I got all sunburned. The parents in front of us didn't really care about anyone else around them. They just started spraying their kid with sunscreen, like the aerosol stuff. It was just like getting in the air all around them. It was pretty bold. But yeah,
Like
Well-
just in the bleachers.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
they
pretty
were sitting
considerate.
in Kyle Field. Yeah, and Spooks was there. He was wearing a UT shirt. He was the only one amongst
Oh man.
5,000
Oh my
people.
God.
That's such a spooks thing to do.
Yikes.
And we left during the third quarter. You have no idea how many eyes were on us. It was insane. We were sitting in like the front row. Like the yell leaders were like in front of us.
What's a yell leader, Blaine? Just kidding.
Um,
Everyone knows that. That's a dumb question.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to think of like A&M things that aren't anywhere else, but like that's not.
A yell leader is very A&M. It's our only cheerleader,
Oh,
basically.
Yeah, I don't think OU has a yell leader.
No.
Are they kind of? Yeah, I guess there's no because at Baylor they have people who are on stands telling the crowd what to do, or what the student section what to do and shit like that.
Yeah, that's kind of the equivalent of what we do,
Yeah,
except better. We
Right.
do
yeah,
it better.
obviously.
You're right.
So,
Obviously.
but yeah, so the yell leaders are elected by some, I guess, the student body. I think it must be the student body, and they're just in charge of. They're to bridge the relations between the athletic program and the student body, basically.
So they're like student ambassadors to sports?
Yeah,
Cool.
but it's more morale related. So it's like,
I see.
we want you to like this,
Gotcha.
so we're gonna get you to connect to it. So yeah, That's why there's like midnight yell. It's like a lot of the students go to Kyle Field the night before a game, and they'll practice the chants. So, or like the different yells that we have. We have like 7 or 8 different chants, and I've never once been to a midnight yell. So.
What kind of unique
Classic
shit
Blaine.
goes down at University of Oklahoma, CD? Sorry, hang on.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna introduce our guest, the weatherman, CD. I feel like we skipped that
Don't mind
part.
me, just chilling here, you know.
I feel like we skipped that part. We just kind of jumped right into it. This is our buddy CD. He is our resident weatherman, a meteorology major.
Yeah. I turn to him every time I want to know the weather.
I don't want to know whether or not you're lying, so no one tell me whether or not Blaine's lying about that. Sorry, go ahead. What kind of unique shit goes down?
Yeah, so as far as like unique shit at like football games and stuff, we have the Sooner Schooner. I think that's how you say it. I don't know if you remember, but this would have been our freshman year of college. It was like the second or third football game I went to. It tipped over, and I was at the game, and it was funny as fuck. But it was so that's like a tradition that we do there. And then we also have I already forgot the name for them, but the people who like shoot the guns at the football game.
Mm-hmm.
I hear them all the time because like I forget their name, but they do stuff at the soccer games too. And my apartment complex is like right over next to the soccer stadium.
Fun.
So every once in a while, I'll hear like gunshots, and it'll be super concerning. And then I remember I'm next to the soccer stadium. I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Is it guns or is it a cannon?
Pretty sure it's guns because they have like little shotgun type things that they throw around in the air and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
because A&M doesn't have guns, and I know UT doesn't have guns. We both have cannons.
Yeah. Well, it may
bigger.
be something similar like that. It like shoots blanks or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
less gun laws in Oklahoma or something, probably. No, Texas is probably.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure if it's registered as like a prop, it should be fine.
Pretty sure
especially if it's under the school.
Pretty sure a cannon's also a firearm, so I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is when I went to an A&M game, they were, I got to, like, we went up into the student section and someone was giving out free tickets to go like below deck, like the lower deck, which is like senior level stuff. And this was when I was a freshman, so it's like whoa, like big stuff. So I was on like the third row up, right next to the DJ, right next to the cannon. I could hardly hear pretty much the whole game, but yeah. Cannon's loud.
Oh yeah.
Good thing we didn't score too much. Sorry.
Damn.
But yeah, I remember that what's it called? The wagon tipping over.
Yeah. It was a really funny moment. I was at the game with some church people that I had met, and we were just kind of hanging out there, and then the Sooner comes out and it tips over, and then like there was this girl who was like sitting in the front of the wagon, and she fucking launched.
Yeah.
It was so bad, but it was so funny.
I saw that shit on replay in like Snapchat or something, and she was like hurled.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, and then like the horses ran off and everything, dude. It was a mess. And then I remember, Caleb, I'm sure you remember, but the first Baylor game of the season, the football season that year. Caleb, were you at that one?
Does it look like it in his face?
Yeah, it was okay. Well, we played Baylor. This would have been November of our freshman year, and so it was a really close game. But I remember before the game, they used the Sooner on the Sooner tipping over like on the big screen to like taunt us and stuff. It was so funny.
Typical.
But yeah,
and
that game in itself was pretty crazy. But yeah.
I take it you're a big football fan.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't ever really a big football fan until I came here because, like, as I'm sure you guys know, baseball was kind of like my big thing. I was a big fan of that in high school. But I mean, I still am. But coming to like a college with like a big, football college atmosphere, kind of helped me get into that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely keep up with it a lot more than I did before. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Just part
not
of
even
culture.
top 5, but whatever.
You have a
I was
Wow.
gonna say, so apparently next year or this upcoming like football season, OU's best chance for the Natty is what I've been hearing. So
Oh.
yeah, and it's the funny thing is it's only because our defensive line is going to be that much better than it was before.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sure if you keep up with it,
Yeah.
we have some viewer questions from a viewer.
Oh, yeah?
Cat Minecrafter missed the first 5 minutes of the stream. It seems like they asked, "Weatherman, can you tell me what the weather is like outside? Haven't been outside in like a week. Forgot what the fresh air is like. Can you describe it to me?"
well, depends on where you're at, but I'd imagine it's pretty nice right now.
Solid answer.
Just look
Solid
out the
answer.
window. It's yeah. Use your
Open-
eyes.
Get up out of bed if you're in bed and just
Yeah.
open your window and smell the air.
Yeah. If my room's ever feeling like really dank, I'll open my window. You know what I'm saying?
My room's been dank. What's a window? It's the clear thing that the light comes through.
What do you live in a mailbox?
I like how that's what you defaulted to, was a mailbox. He didn't say prison. He didn't say like in a refrigerator. That's pretty cool, actually. That's
Does the
pretty
light stay
odd.
on when you close it? Or
Ooh, yeah, that's a good
The
question.
answer- you can answer the question that everyone's been dying to know.
You guys don't know the answer?
We're just joking, Andrew.
Does the food suddenly come alive when we're not looking at it?
yeah, that too. My milk keeps on moving around, and I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the elf on the shelf 16 years ago actually go in there by himself? Tell me.
Or even better, this viewer is food right now. What are you, a carrot? I bet you're a carrot.
Oh yeah, I
It
bet
turns off.
they're quite the snack.
The
Yeah.
light does turn off. Confirmed by the man.
Confirmed
woman, maybe.
confirmed by Cat Minecrafter on Twitch. The light turns off when you shut the door.
Ah, interesting.
Thank you.
So good segue. Thank you, Cat Minecrafter. Weather.
Yes.
Our boy CD is a meteorology major, correct?
Yes.
That's the like official major name.
Yeah, so I'm getting a major in meteorology, and funnily enough, this changed like just as of like 2 days ago.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm also getting a minor in broadcast broadcast meteorology, which is like TV meteorology, and then a minor in mathematics. So,
Oh hell yeah.
Cool.
Dude, looks like we're all getting
Yeah.
minors around here.
oh yeah.
Except
Cat,
me.
Cat Minecrafter's gonna be a lawyer. Good luck, Cat Minecrafter. Law from a
Dude.
refrigerator is probably difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you gonna. What kind of court cases are you doing? Like,
Food court
grapes,
cases.
grapes
Food
getting moldy.
court.
Damn it!
Oh,
So
fuck.
good.
Dude, yeah, I was thinking
Oh,
my
sir,
mom like
I
cogs are turning.
swear, the defendant did not choke the victim to death.
The freezer was one cold setting too low.
The seed was placed inside the cherry by an outside source.
Oh, sorry. We were talking about
Yeah.
math,
You're good, you're
math
good.
minor,
Minor in
meteorology.
mathematics? Why?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, so mainly because so those two minors that I'm getting would really like help me be versatile as far as like trying to find a job post college. So like obviously broadcast software would help me, get a TV meteorologist job if that were ever come up. And then mathematics would kind of like be the other end of the spectrum. Like rather than being a broadcast meteorologist, I'd be the guy behind the scenes doing all the research and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah. So and I really it's really not that difficult to get a math minor, especially as a meteorology major here, because it's literally like one extra class that I have to take. Because I mean, basically everything I do is math now. So
Really?
yeah,
I'm wondering-
I mean,
What math is necessary for? Like, how is math used in meteorology? I suppose.
yeah. So
I
math
thought
can
it
be
was
used in.
Sorry, I thought it was just look outside. Oh, cloudy.
I mean, that's the basics
go.
of it, yeah. But,
There are
I
mathematical
mean,
models you have to follow, right, for meteorology?
yeah, there's a whole bunch of math you can use to like figure out the models, figure out like storm tracks, figure out what's going on in the atmosphere, figure out where storms will form, where they won't,
A lot of
what's going to
physics.
happen.
A lot of physics, I assume.
Yeah, a lot of physics too. And actually,
Sucks.
surprisingly enough, there's not as much physics compared to. Well, actually, I take that back. Physics and math are probably about the same when it comes to meteorology. They're evenly balanced. That's about how much you'll use them. But yeah. But as far as like classes that I've had to take so far, I've taken a lot more math than I have physics because I've only had to take up to physics 2, and then right now I'm finishing up calculus 3. So, and thankfully that'll be like my last gen ed. I don't know about you guys, but I struggle a lot with calculus. So,
I'm in Calc 3 and differential equations right now.
Yeah.
And it is fucking me in the bum most of the time.
Differential equations is
I
definitely
cannot wait
piping
to
me.
be out.
I was gonna say the stuff we're talking about right now is like we just got into like triple integrals and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. But yeah, and unfortunately, and a lot of other meteorology majors can vouch for me on this, but the math department at the University of Oklahoma, pardon me when I say this, absolute shit. It's terrible. Like, I mean, people complain about it all the time. Like, because I don't know if I told you guys this before, but so my freshman year, first semester of college, I was enrolled in Calculus 1, and I had this teacher who some of my friends in Air Force ROTC called her arm hair lady, because whenever her arms were all Elmo and on the screen, you could see literally every single hair on her arm. But anyway, so long story short, she wasn't a very great teacher because on the very first exam, obviously me coming into college as a freshman, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, and so obviously like academics, college compared to high school is like you can kind of breeze through it, and just get there. But college, you actually have to work for it. And so me being freshman, I didn't really think that way. So I didn't study as much as I should have. And so long story short, I ended up bombing the first exam in that calculus class. And I remember the next day in that class, our professor literally pulled up like a graph of what every grade in the class was. There weren't names next to them, but like a graph of how many people got this grade range, graph of how many people got this grade range. And I unfortunately fell in the bottom half. And when she pointed at that bottom half on the screen, she was like, "If you're in this area, you need to drop the class now." And I was like, "Fuck!"
Wow.
Like she told me straight up that there was like no chance of revival, all that shit. And I was like, "Well, this is a positive outlook. Appreciate it." But and of course, me being carefree and not wanting to be responsible as a freshman, I didn't drop the class, and so I ended up failing it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm in Cal 3 right now, so can't complain about that. But anyway, so yeah, which it was really bizarre because literally the next semester when I retook Calc 1, I got a pretty similar grade, but I was able to come back from it. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, my professor last semester was full of shit. Like I totally could have come back from that. But
yeah, absolutely.
Oh well.
Calc 1's pretty sick.
Anyway.
Calc 1's awesome.
Yeah, Calc 1 is pretty basic. I'd say
Did you take Calc 1 in high school as well?
No. The last math class I took in high school was pre-calc, I think.
Okay.
I think I took that senior year because I remember I was on the same track as you guys, but I dropped algebra 8th grade, I think, something like that.
If I didn't, I know for a fact if I didn't take Calc 1 in high school, I probably would not have passed Calc 1 in college.
Yeah, calculus is a different beast when you get to college. That's for sure.
Wrapping your head around the concepts is difficult if you don't have exposure. And, the speed at which a university would cover Calc 1 is way too fast.
Well, yeah, because our Calc 1 was Calc 1 AB, but then there was also a BC for the AP exam, and they just did AB and BC all in one. No, they didn't. They did AB, and then Calc 2 was BC.
Yeah, Calc 2 to 3 is BC, and AB is 1 and the first half of 2, and BC I'm pretty sure is the rest of 2 and 3, or something like that.
My calc professor from Calc 1 looked like Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter. Almost exactly.
That's
All right.
hilarious.
He was a Weasley man. All right. Really good teacher though. So
Yeah, for sure.
can't
That's awesome.
can't fault him for that. But
yeah, for sure. I want to say, what are you majoring in again, Blaine?
I'm in mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I want to say, I don't know if you knew this, but A&M was like my second option to OU. So, and actually, the only reason I didn't get into A&M when I applied was because they were so. I'm sure you remember, but they like accepted way too many people, and so because they had so many applications or something like that. But
they had this thing. They had
Are you about to apply?
I already
He's
did,
trained.
and
Yeah.
they still haven't accepted my.
They keep extending.
admissions. They extended.
admission.
Oh.
Okay, they extended the deadline like 3 fucking times. I could
Yeah.
be mauled
Damn.
like this for an hour straight.
That's
They
crazy.
told me. I emailed them in February when I submitted my transfer application. It was due March 1st. It ended up being extended to like March 19th or something. The deadline.
Damn.
And I emailed them. I was like, "Hey, I'm applying. I was applying in California and in Texas schools."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Look, I have all these deadlines. I need to know if I'm going to be admitted or not." And they're like, "Okay, well, you've submitted everything you need to submit. The application decisions will be rolled out from mid-April through the summer. I have to accept my admissions somewhere else by May 1st. Every other school, I have to accept my decision by May 1st. And they're telling
That's
me I
crazy.
won't even fucking know until after that, probably. And you know what else I did? I signed a motherfucking lease for an apartment in College Station already.
You have to.
Wow.
You have to
Yeah,
because
if
they
I
get
don't, I
filled
won't
up so
have
quick.
anywhere. Yeah, it's
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's absolutely.
That is crazy.
I'm molding. I'm gonna sue, dude.
CD, I have a very nice location for my apartment and a very nice price. I had to sign this lease in October for the fall semester next year.
Holy crap! Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Thanks, A&M
That's-
Engineering School. Thanks for being fast.
Gig 'em.
From like everything I've heard of A&M admissions, it just sounds like they're really
Yeah.
really
They
not
have
very
their
good at-
hands full. All right,
As
I
long
will
as-
say that they
as-
have their hands full.
As long as I get accepted, it doesn't matter. It'll all blow over and I'll stop being mauled. But if I don't, then I'll
Yeah,
be
exactly.
so fucking angry.
Yeah,
Oh
I would
my
be too.
God, dude.
I would be furious.
I don't see why I wouldn't be admitted, but the fact that there's even a chance makes me so upset. I'm mauling so hard.
Speaking
Yeah.
of which,
Sorry. One last thing. I mauled so hard these days that I literally have gray hairs now. Already.
Whoa.
yikes.
It's fucking sad.
Is that mauled or stress?
No, I'm mauling. I'm getting so mad that I'm going bald. That's what mauling means, does it not?
Well, I mean, gray isn't bald.
My beard is graying. I just started growing a beard like a year or two ago. Okay,
Uh.
that's my mauled story. We need to get, dude. We have a guest. What are we doing?
I know. I'm
I'm
trying
gonna
to-
say, sorry. I kind of. You guys asked me about weather, and I started talking about calculus. So yeah, that's my fault. I kind of went off the.
Let's
track
talk
here.
more about the meteorology courses that you're gonna have to take. What do
Yeah.
you kind of know the structure of how like you're introduced to all of that?
Yeah. So they actually just recently changed the degree sheet for meteorology, so it's still a little bit confusing out here. But so what your freshman year, first freshman semester, and really just your first 2 years of college. It's mostly going to be, I mean, as I'm sure for any other major, you're going to be doing, all your gen eds and all your basic stuff, getting all that out of the way. And then you don't really get into your meteorology classes until maybe late sophomore year into junior year, just to kind of depending on whether or not you take summer classes.
Right.
But yeah, so freshman year you'll do calculus 1 and then I also did chemistry, and then I think that was it. Everything else I did was general education stuff. And then the next semester of freshman year, I redid Calc 1, but if you end up passing Calc 1, you do Calc 2, obviously. And then you would do, honestly, I don't know what you would do next, because my path has been a little bit different compared to the regular 4-year plan. I'm on a 5-year plan right now. Mm-hmm. So my freshman or second semester of freshman year, I redid Calc 1, but I also did another general education, I think. I'm trying to remember if it was... No, that was last semester. Actually, you know what? I'm going to reference this right now. I have like a whole degree sheet thing here.
What courses are you looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to some of the stuff I'm taking next fall. So there's a class called Atmospheric Circulations, which basically just studies the how the atmosphere works and all that, and what forms storms, things of that nature. So that one's looking pretty cool. And then I remember my so I ended up taking a summer class last summer, and I did the Intro to Meteorology class, which was like the most basic version of that class. And they really got into everything. Like, you start out talking about different types of clouds and stuff like that, pretty basic stuff. But then later on in the class, you get into like severe weather, how all that works. You learn how to read a weather station model, which is, I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically it's a little circle with like a little stick that points off of the end of it, and then there's maps with like these little circle dots all across the map, all across the nation for each different location. Basically, a weather station model, it explains what the weather is like for that location. Like, it will show the dew point, it'll show the temperature, and then the little stick that I was talking about, depending on how many little lines are coming off of it, that's how you tell the wind speed. So like each like half a line is like 5 miles per hour, a full line is 10 miles per hour, and then you just count each line to figure out how fast the wind is going. Mm-hmm. And then the little dot that I was telling you about, which is in the center of the station model, that would tell you what like the sky conditions are like. So if if the thing is like fully colored in, it's a full dot, that means it's pretty bleak outside, pretty overcast. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's different ways that you can, tell sky conditions based off of just what's put in that dot. And then you also learn how to read, I always forget what they're called, but they're basically, there's these little graphs, right? And it's really confusing when you first look at them. But so you have like your basic y-axis, basic x-axis, and then you have these two lines that go up, and then one's like a dew point line and one's a temperature line. And based off of where those lines are at, you can tell also kind of what the weather's like outside. Based off of like where the lines are at, you can tell if there's storms forming. You can tell if it's clear outside, if it's humid, all these different kinds of things. Basic things that we put into like, you guys know what like a 7-day forecast looks like, right?
Yeah.
Just like a basic one. It's basically everything, all the information that you can put on that, but like on a graph that for meteorology people to study. So.
Okay, I might sound stupid here. I have always just ignored the dew point. What is it?
Yeah, so the dew point is the temperature that you need to reach in order for there to be moisture in the atmosphere. So like, say you're at a certain temperature, right? Mm-hmm. You need to reach the dew point in order for there to be water there, in order for the water to be for it to be humid, really.
Is that like a barometric measurement? How do you measure that? How do you know that?
That is a good question that I do not know how to answer off the top of my head. Okay. But
I can't imagine why it would be different in different places.
It's got to be atmosphere. Yeah, I mean.
It's got everything to do with the atmosphere and how the because I mean you've got different air masses, right? So you guys know what a cold front is and a warm front is. Pretty basic stuff.
Refresh me on. I'm not trying to be really dumb and just milk time, but
Yeah, no, you're good.
You probably have good insight on different parts of cold fronts and warm fronts.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't.
well, I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. So you have like the cold front is basically has all cold air behind it, and then the warm front has all warm air behind it, and how all of that intertwines and intermingles is really what that's kind of like what happens in the atmosphere. And there's different levels of the atmosphere, obviously, that you would study for it. And I mean, like I said, that's not something I'm super knowledgeable on yet. That's something I'll be doing next semester. But yeah, I mean, it's really all just one big picture that really affects every little thing, all the way from the dew point, temperature, everything. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say really most of my meteorology knowledge comes from like severe weather and like reading radars and stuff like that, because that's actually a lot of what I've been doing this semester. Not that I have a class for it, but this semester obviously it's severe weather season, and I'm out here in Oklahoma, so I've been keeping a close eye on all that kind of stuff. So I've been, most of my interest for meteorology anyway comes from like tornado genesis and which I know it's a big word, but that's just creation of a tornado, basically. So yeah, that's really most of my basic knowledge. And as I know we were talking about this before the podcast began, but one of my friends actually went and chased yesterday in Lockett, Texas, which is kind of like west of the DFW area. There was a big tornado out there yesterday, and actually I was watching a live stream of one of my favorite storm chasers. His name is Reed Timmer. Have you guys ever heard of him?
No, I don't really watch storm chasing. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, well, so Reed Timmer is he's actually a guy I've been watching ever since I was itty bitty little, and he actually used to have his own show on Discovery Channel, and he would go and chase storms and stuff like that. And his thing is he has these vehicles called the Dominators. And so basically what a Dominator is it's, just imagine a basic Ford F-350 pickup, which is like just the base model truck. But then he takes armored plating, puts it all over it, hydraulics on the armor plating so you can drop the plating down flush to the ground. There's like spikes on the side that'll shoot into the ground. It has like all this weather tech on it that'll measure, pressure, everything like that. And he basically takes these vehicles and drives them into the middle of tornadoes because he's a crazy bitch. But yeah, so and actually he hasn't been chasing with them this storm season for some reason, but he has before. And they're pretty neat vehicles. Honestly, if I were get the funding one day, I wouldn't mind turning a truck into one of those. But
was he on Mythbusters at one point?
Probably.
I think it was some storm chaser with like a really cool vehicle that had hydraulic plating to shield the wind.
Yeah, there's him, and then there's another guy named Sean Casey, who he did something pretty similar actually, except his vehicle wasn't based off of a vehicle that was already created. He created his completely from scratch. Like he built the frame, everything, and he actually did his, and he was on the same show as Reed Timmer, but he did his because he was creating an IMAX film. For some project he was doing. And basically what he did is he took that same idea, built his own custom vehicle, and it has like a turret on the top where he can mount his IMAX camera and like turn it around and point it at the tornado as it's coming over them. So it's, there's some pretty crazy chase vehicles out there.
I've seen pictures of that vehicle actually.
Yeah.
That thing looks sick.
It's pretty legit. The only downside
if you show me a picture of that, I didn't know what it was. I wouldn't think it was for driving into a tornado. And, I'd be like, oh, is that like some kind of security?
Military grade type shit. Yeah. You'd expect some like tank cannons on the side of that shit. Crazy. But it's pretty cool stuff. But so most of what I've been doing this semester is storm chasing when I can. The most recent storm chase I went on was a week or two ago. Actually, it would have been a week ago from yesterday. I chased some storms out in eastern Oklahoma. It wasn't anything interesting. It was really just a giant hail core. And even when I say giant hail core, the hail that was actually coming down only lasted for like 30 seconds, and it was like pebble size. So then again, not going to complain about that because that means I wouldn't have to replace a windshield. But
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, so by far the craziest storm chase I've been on is the one that I went on in the Panhandle a few weeks ago. I got right underneath the circulation of, and I don't remember if it was on the ground already or not. It may not have. It may have already lifted. But there was a confirmed tornado on the storm that I was chasing, and I got a little bit too close for comfort. And naturally, rather than trying to escape for my own safety, I took a screenshot of the radar app that I was using, and I was like, "Oh, look how close I am!" But
Of course, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I was basically right underneath the circulation of this wall cloud that may or may not have had a tornado on the ground. I know it did for sure. And actually, I can probably show you guys a screenshot of it here real quick if you're able to see it. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So this is a screen recording, but I don't know how well y'all can see that. Is it too bright?
It's not bad. I can see.
We can see.
Yeah,
it.
I can see like there's a red center.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, so there's a green and red center right here, right on this radar.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can zoom into it a little bit. That is what they call a couplet. And so basically this is a different mode of the app that I have. I use an app called Radar Scope. And it's like $10 on the App Store. But they have different modes that you can use. And that mode that I was using was called the base velocity mode, which is basically an X-ray into the clouds and seeing which direction the wind is moving at a certain level in the atmosphere. So, and I always forget which direction means which. I remember now. So red on the radar means that the wind is moving towards the closest radar station, and then green means it's moving away. And typically when you see green next to red on that radar, it means that there's either rotation in the within the storm itself, or there's a funnel that's there. And typically when there's a funnel that's there, you'll see what they call a couplet. And it's pretty obvious on radar when you have a couplet. And actually here, I can send it in the Discord here if it will let me. But it's when you see a couplet on radar, it's basically got like a white bright center kind of, and then the red and greens will kind of look like a hurricane, almost like you would see on radar.
Right.
And that typically means that there's either a tornado about to drop or there is one already on the ground. And in that particular storm chase, not only did I get close to that one, but I got close to two more that happened earlier. And actually, I stayed away from that one because I had some friends that I was also chasing with who got a little bit too close for comfort in that one. Turned out that tornado ended up being rain wrapped, which means it basically looks like there's a giant wall of rain in front of you, right? But to an oncoming driver, it may not look like there's anything in there, when in reality there's a massive tornado inside of it. And which is like the most dangerous kind of tornado that you can get, aside from a rain-wrapped tornado happening at nighttime. So basically you can't see shit, which I try to stay away from that kind of situation as much as possible. And some of my friends got caught up in the tornado there because they didn't even see it. And thankfully the tornado missed them by like a mile or two, but they got some good pictures of it and they sent it to me and some of the other people I was with at the time. And it was a massive wedge. Like you could see it spanning for, I would say it was maybe a quarter to a half mile wide. Wow. It was ridiculous. And the crazy part is that was not the only tornado that was on the ground at the time too. There was another one literally just south of that one. And that's one of the most biggest dangers when it comes to storm chasing, is when you get close to one tornado, you always have to keep like 360-degree security. You always have to be looking around because you never know if a second one's going to come up right behind you and beat you in the ass. But and that was what was scary for them, is because they were caught right in between the two that were on the ground, and the rain-wrapped one was literally right in front of them. And I didn't get to see that one, unfortunately, mainly because it was rain-wrapped and I was a little bit of a distance away. But it was pretty crazy. There was I remember afterwards looking at the damage rating. I want to say it ended up being either an EF2 or an EF3 after it was all said and done. But it did some damage to Happy, Texas, which is pretty close to where the canyon is out there in Canyon, Texas. And it did some damage to like some trailer parks and stuff like that. But it was a pretty intense chase. I will say that. It was definitely the most fun I've had on a chase for sure. So, yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead, Blaine.
what made you kind of get into all of this? Because like hearing you describe all this, I'm like, not for me.
Okay,
Not
I
for
was
me.
gonna say it's
My question's more short term.
Fair enough. Go.
You said you grade it on the damage it does.
yes.
Is that the only way you grade a tornado, or can you grade it before?
Well, you can't really grade it before. I mean, as
with
far as
with hurricanes, you could be like, it's a Category 5 before it even hits land.
yeah, you can kind of like get a ballpark estimate, if that makes sense. Like if you're out there and you measure the wind, or you it's like radar indicated or something like that, you can guesstimate the wind speed, and then within a certain wind speed, it'll fall within a certain category. So like I want to say 0 to 69 miles per hour would be an EF0.
Right.
Which is, I know, right? It's very, very nice.
It's nice.
But yeah, and then 70 to like 110 is an EF1, and then upward. It's got like certain ranges, and you can kind of guesstimate as to what the damage will be based off of the wind speed. But then again, that's not always the case. That's really what interests me about tornadoes the most. Is about like kind of like the mystery about them. Because we don't really know a whole lot as other than how they form and what they do. Like that's really about as much as we know. Because I mean, when you get into the deeper questions, like we don't know, like why does one storm produce a tornado and why does this other storm don't, when they have extremely similar environments around them, or things like that. And if we start to learn things about that, we could like increase warning times, and it really helps save lives and stuff like that. So that's really what interests me, is really just kind of the unknown about them. But,
yeah, probably because whenever a tornado touches down, everyone's like, "Get the fuck away from it."
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question earlier, Blaine, the thing that really entices me about storm chasing is not just like the research aspect about it, but I guess you could kind of compare it to, I mean, really any kind of adrenaline, inducing kind of thing. Like that's really what it is about, is like, not just, trying to get the information that you can about the tornado and, comparing it to other situations, but, it's really about the adrenaline rush and just the excitement of actually seeing one.
Like stealing.
Yeah, exactly.
What are your thoughts?
That's one way to
What
put
are your
it.
thoughts on skydiving into a tornado?
That would be like
Bad idea.
ultimate adrenaline rush. Yeah, terrible idea, but I would totally do it.
Okay, but what
You're
about
able to sponsor somebody
Yeah.
to do that?
like wingsuit?
Wingsuit into one?
I
I don't know that.
Like,
I think your limbs would tear off, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
You're
you
not careful.
at that point you wouldn't
I'm
even
pretty
be
strong,
flying. You'd just be debris at that point. Like the
I know,
tornadoes
dude.
would slam you into the ground.
like
I think
I'm pretty
Blaine's-
strong.
I'm pretty sure Blaine's original question was, how did you get into it in the first place?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like I said earlier, I grew up watching Reed Timmer and his like Discovery Channel show and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, as far as getting into weather in general, my dad is a pilot, and so he deals with a lot of weather and stuff like that. And so I grew up around airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And way back when, this would have been like a decade ago, he was a flight instructor at TSTC. And I'd go up there with them and kind of mess with like all the stuff that they had up there, like the airplane simulators and all the weather stuff that they had out there. So that was really kind of my start with the obsession, I guess. But
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
I forgot.
Yeah.
You have piloted planes. Do you have a license still? How does that work?
I do not. I unfortunately never found the time to do that because I remember a few years ago I actually talked with my dad because my dad's a certified flight instructor. Even though he's not teaching anymore, he could still technically, do check rides with me and all that kind of stuff and legally get me a pilot's license. But and that's just an idea that my parents and I have kind of thrown around in the air before. As I remember a few years ago, before I even got my driver's license, they kind of joked about it, and they're like, "Yeah, you could get your pilot's license before you even learn to drive." And I was like, "That'd be kind of cool." But yeah, I mean, I would still love to get my pilot's license, especially considering I have the means to do it. And actually, funny enough, my younger brother, his name is Andrew as well, by the way. He is actually both of my younger brothers are homeschooling right now, and my dad comes home every 2 weeks from shift after he goes out and flies. And he's actually been teaching my brother just as of recently because my brother just turned 15 a few weeks ago. And so he's starting to learn now too. And funnily enough, he'll probably end up getting his license before I do. But
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like after you experience flying a plane on your own, it's one of those things where it's like you just can't. Go
yeah, you
back.
can't. It's a really addicting thing. Yeah, it's fun. I haven't flown in a while, but that's mostly just because I've been busy with school and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, this summer, and actually, I've been meaning to talk to my dad about this if he ever finds the time. But I wouldn't mind, going out and flying again, or maybe even trying to start working on my license this summer. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So
If you do, tell us so that we can feel good about ourselves. Because we pushed you to do it.
I believe in you.
yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I believe in you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I will go do it now, just for you guys.
Yeah, I want to feel good about myself.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, how much do I have to pay you to strap me in with a parachute and then fly me over a tornado?
Yeah, come on, CD.
Dude, I'll do it for free.
You're the lift man.
If I live, I can sue. If I'm not paying you to do it.
Well, I'll make you sign a safety contract before. Yeah.
I'll push you.
I gotta make sure I get benefits.
I'm the one to push you out.
Yeah,
Speaking
cool.
of hail,
That's cool.
this is just a little interesting tidbit. We got a lot of hail a couple weeks ago, and I talked about it on a podcast in College Station. This was on my front doorstep when it was happening. I wonder if it could focus.
Holy shit! Yeah, that's
like
golf ball size, right?
Yeah, it was golf ball sized hail, and
That's crazy.
It was very, very stressful hearing it because the wind was pretty powerful, and we were getting tornado warnings.
I remember watching that actually on radar. I was keeping an eye on that one.
Yeah, the wind was probably at least like 20 miles an hour, and it was like slapping the hail into the windows and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, hail does sound pretty scary whenever it's coming down. And I mean, hail can actually sometimes be more dangerous than people think. Because I mean, like, depending on how big it is and how fast it's falling, it could do some serious damage.
Yeah. Almost all of the cars in the parking lot that weren't under covered parking. Thank God my car was under covered parking. Horrible hail damage. Like.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Terrible.
Man, yeah, like looking at the hail damage in a car and then thinking like, damn, if I was outside and that hit like my back,
exactly.
that'd be bad shape, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like even like the shoulders, like my shoulder is pretty strong, but like boom. It's like like getting hit with a golf ball. Like you don't want to.
That's basically what it is. Yeah.
Basically.
That was a funny story about hail. So sophomore year of high school when I came and toured at OU, I went and took a tour of the National Weather Center, which is actually here on campus. And they have these vehicles they have like a whole bay full of vehicles down at the National Weather Center. And they have several things. They have these things called DOWs, which stands for Doppler on wheels. basically it's just a giant truck with a giant Doppler in the bed.
Yeah.
And then they also, so this is the funny story. So they have like these Dodge Grand Caravan like minivans, right? And funnily enough, whenever they got those, they actually weren't initially owned by the university. They were rental cars. And these graduate students would take those minivans and take them out and drive them into storms and storm chase with them basically. And they came back to the leather center like beat to shit. There's hail dents all over them, windows cracked. Keep in mind these are rental cars. And so the National Leather Service goes back to the rental agency and they're like, "Hey, we're done with these now." And then the rental agency was just like, "We don't want them back. You guys can just keep them." And so, funnily enough, they got to keep the minivans at no extra cost. So,
Wow, that's a good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
That's just that. Go rent a car, take it into a storm, get some hail damage, and then
yeah,
you're
exactly.
Bam, free car.
Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard the story of like the carton of eggs getting sucked in a tornado and then getting just dropped down, broken?
Oh no, I've never heard of that. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, I don't know where like that came
That's-
from. Do
that's
you think there's
strange.
any truth to that? Like there could be.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like tornadoes. I mean, they do crazy shit. Like they could go through a whole neighborhood, destroy one house, and leave the other one next to it completely unharmed. Like I would not be surprised if that happened. Yeah, that's definitely possible. It's pretty unpredictable what can happen inside the funnel. So, yeah, that's a crazy story though. I'd be interested to see that actually happen.
Yeah, I guess that is like the mystery part you were talking about earlier. Just like how unpredictable it can be in there. Just the
Yeah.
amount of like
It's a portal to Oz.
interaction.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I remember watching a documentary. So, you guys know where Moore, Oklahoma is?
Yeah, I do.
So Moore is, I mean, it's basically the same area as Norman. It's literally like 15 minutes north of here.
Okay.
But back in 2013, they had a humongous EF5 roll through Moore.
Mm,
And I remember watching a documentary about it a while ago. And there was this lady who was telling a story about how she found like a picture of her like granddad, like a picture of her granddad in like his marine clothing, literally like 3 towns over in like Newcastle. It was crazy. Which Newcastle, keep in mind, so Moore is like on the east side of Interstate 35. Newcastle is like miles and miles and miles on the other side of the interstate. So it's like it's crazy what they can do. They can completely relocate basically anything. So yeah, and I remember a few weeks ago I was driving through Moore with one of my friends who's actually from there, and I asked her, I was like, "Were you here when all this kind of stuff happened?" She was like, "No, but my family was," and she basically took me on a tour of like through Moore and everything. I remember like looking at stuff. I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw this in the documentary. I saw this in the documentary." And if you're driving through the main streets on Moore, you can see like where the tornado went through. Not just like literally, but if you look at some houses on one side of the street, they can be completely old, completely original. And then on the other side of the street, every house there is either gone or completely brand new. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. And I remember when we were driving through there was like a ditch that was literally dug out by the tornado, and they had to like build a bridge over it and everything. It's pretty crazy what they can do. So, but yeah,
Right.
that's kind of my fascination with them.
When I lived in Tennessee, I lived in Middle Tennessee for about 7 years. And so we would get tornadoes, not as often as like Tornado Alley, but sometimes there'd be some rippers that came through there. And there was one storm, one like supercell storm, where I think the Cumberland River flooded a lot, and so there were river roads basically for like a day and a half, and then water would seep into different reservoirs, and so my neighborhood was flooded for fucking 3 weeks or some shit. Like,
That's crazy.
like yards of water deep. I couldn't tell you at this point. But
Jeez.
Damn.
But what I'm getting at is, you're saying the damage that a tornado can do is massive, and you're absolutely right. Flood plus tornado was the spookiest shit I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So my sister's friend's house got pulled up by a tornado that day, and then flowed down the street in a flood. Maybe not
Whoa.
all in one piece, but like the house
Yeah.
just got swept away by a storm. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It does not.
Yeah, I
mess
would say
around.
definitely. I would say definitely like the combinations of things that can happen within a storm. That's what really makes it dangerous. Because like I mean, the tornado that happened yesterday up in Lockett, Texas. There was the tornado threat, and then there was also I want to say some of the chasers out there said there was like softball size hail. It was ridiculous. And the crazy part is normally the way that storms typically go is so you have like when you're looking at it on radar, right? You have your supercell, and then it'll kind of like hook. That's your hook echo. You guys know what that is?
No.
So when you're looking for a tornado on radar, like I mentioned earlier, you can do the base velocity thing and see which direction the winds are going. But if you're just looking at a regular radar, typically you can tell if there's a tornado just based off of the shape of the storm. So like say you have this one tiny little cell moving through the plains, and then all of a sudden on the bottom end of the cell, you see kind of like a hook shape almost.
Mhm.
That typically means that there's inflow in the storm, and that inflow is feeding the storm, and it's kind of branching out and then creating that rotation on the bottom end of the storm. And that's typically where the wall cloud is, and typically where the tornado will come down, right in the center of that hook. And typically behind, as the storm rolls through, right? So you have your tornado roll through first, and then after that is typically when the hail comes in. I mean, it's not always like this. It really depends on the structure of each individual storm. But typically, the hail will come in after the tornado on the backside of the tornado, which usually sucks because the best spot to see a tornado is on the backside of the tornado, and so you can get absolutely screwed by getting caught in a hail core that's behind it. And there's so many different factors that come into storms, so
Mhm.
it's pretty crazy.
So what
Oh yeah.
what vehicles do you do storm chasing in? If they get beat to shit.
My truck, my personal shit.
Right.
Yeah, I mean
I mean,
don't
is
know
it
if
beat
you-
to shit? Have you gotten lucky? Is it?
my truck was already beat to shit, so if it is beat to shit, I haven't noticed. So,
Fair enough.
but I mean, actually, I don't know if you guys heard before, but my truck was actually pretty much dead for like a few months after Christmas break.
I remember you posting about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it had so many freaking problems with it. It had like an oil leak. It still has a coolant leak. I haven't fixed that. But it had a transmission leak. The spark plugs needed to be replaced. There was water pump leaks. It was ridiculous. And so initially when I took it to the shop last Christmas, the shop was asking like $2,500 to fix it, which is like more than half of what that entire thing is worth. And so I was like, hell no. And so thankfully my granddad had some connections, and he found a guy who can fix it, or who did fix it for really, really cheap. He fixed the oil leak and he fixed the transmission leak, all for like $400.
Oh yeah.
Which was, I was like, it may not be the most professional mechanic work, but I'll take it.
It is
Mhm.
honest
Might have
work.
zip ties or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I would say my license plate is literally being held on by zip ties right now. But yeah, and actually, the only reason that I haven't considered purchasing a new car. I can buy a new car right now if I wanted to. I could go trade that in and
Big
get
money
something
moves.
decent. But if the only thing that's keeping me from doing that is the fact that I storm chase, I don't know how I'd feel about storm chasing and something I suddenly just invested all my money into. So
Yeah.
You ever worry your car will break down in the middle of a tornado and you're stuck there?
I mean, it's been pretty reliable to this point, so I'm not too worried about it right now. But
how reliable is leaks in every important aspect of your engine?
Every single leak you could have, you had.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, most of those leaks have been fixed. Like, I don't have a transmission leak or an oil leak anymore, at least as far as I'm aware. But I mean, I do have a coolant leak, but the thing with the coolant leak is it's such a slow leak that I've just kind of let it go. I mean, though it's coming from like somewhere, like with one of the hoses coming from the thing in the front. Why is the thing not coming to me? The intercooler, yes, that. It's coming from one of those hoses, and those hoses probably haven't been replaced ever since that thing was new. So they're probably 20 years old, something like that. And so it's probably just something that's got to happen anyway. But yeah, and then that's really the only problem I've had with it so far. Actually, no, I take that back. There is one considerably dangerous problem that could happen. So
I'm in.
My truck likes to go into theft mode randomly.
Oh.
Even while I'm driving. So
Wow.
what happens is there's
awesome.
Fuse in the fuse box that is on its way out. And what happens is if that fuse doesn't have a good connection, it'll cut power to the fuel pump, and the fuel pump won't go, and it cuts power to the engine, and the engine just completely shuts off. And so I remember a few weeks ago, I got up really early for PT for ROTC, and I parked in the parking garage. And we suddenly changed locations for PT, and I was like, well, shit, now I got to move my truck. Tried starting it, wouldn't fucking start. And I had to be there in like 5 minutes. I was like, well, guess I'm going to gun it across campus. So I just sprinted the entire time all the way across campus and left it there. And then when I got back, I called my dad. I was like, hey, this is like just after I got it back from being fixed from that mechanic. And so I called my dad. I was like, hey, what all did he do? Like this doesn't seem right, obviously. And so my dad told me, he was like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So the mechanic found out that you have an issue with your fuse box. And typically he said that the way he fixed it was he punched the fuse box a few times and it worked. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I put the key into the battery mode and I just opened the hood. I gave the fuse box a slam a few times, got back in, and it started right up. And I was like, fuck. So I've had that happen a few times where, and thankfully it hasn't happened enough to the point where I'm like driving and it happens. But I remember that day that it happened, I finally got it started up. I was pulling out of the parking garage, and as I was leaving the exit, it cut off again, and I had to like glide into like a parking spot. And I was like, "What the fuck? This is not gonna fly." But yeah, so.
Sounds like your definition of reliable is a little different than mine is.
Hey, if it works, it works. All right. All I have to do is, and keep in mind, here's my solution to if this happens, if I get caught in the middle of a tornado, right?
Okay.
My adrenaline's probably already going to be out the wazoo. So if I just pull over to the side, on the side of a road, get the hood open, bang on, like fucking beat the shit out of my fuse box a few times, and then get back in the car as fast as I can, it'll be fine.
You had the wazoo.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Just pop the hood and let the hail beat the
yeah.
box into submission.
At least you got your fix, though.
Yeah.
Like you know what to do.
Exactly.
You stop working. You just get out, smash fuse box a couple times.
Yeah,
exactly.
That
as long as the tornado's not on my ass in that moment, it'll be fine.
As a quick side tangent, as a person with my car issues of my own, by that I mean nothing in the engine, but I know you've either restored or replaced your headlights or both before.
Yeah, so
mine are so shit. I've sanded them and I've re-clear coated them once, what else should I do? Because they're bad.
Did you do
again.
the inside?
Removing my headlights? Well, I have to take my whole engine apart because it's a stupid Japanese car that isn't modular
You
at
have
all.
to take the whole engine out to
You
replace
have
your
to
headlight?
remove a bunch of components in order to get to the fasteners that take out the headlights.
Probably a lot of the intake ducts and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
He
Yeah,
has a
I was.
Lancer, so
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember I tried restoring my original headlights way back when, using like a Chris. You guys know who Chris Fix is on
Yeah,
YouTube?
that's who I watched his video and that's how I did it the first time.
Yeah, I would say I tried that thing. I did it with like 4,000 grit sandpaper and 6 or 8,000, something like that. And then I got clear coat, and I used alcohol to clean it before I clear coated it.
Yeah.
And that worked for a while. They were pretty clear up until a few months later. And I think most of that was just because they were old headlights, and so I just eventually ended up replacing them. But as far as like other methods to do them, I don't know any of myself, but I can point you in the direction of someone who knows. So I worked with Angel Rivera last summer with his detailing business, and I went and did a few cars with him. And there was a car that he and I did together, and actually I didn't even have to help. I was really impressed with how quickly he was able to do this. But he has like some sort of secret special formula for fixing oxidized headlights. He just like puts the cream on there and then like does a little polishing thing, and then all of a sudden they're like new.
That's
So
nuts.
reach out to him if you want to have help doing that.
Interesting.
yeah, I know my dad. He polished the ones on our truck before he sold it, but it just, I don't know, for some reason, maybe he didn't clear coat it afterwards, but it just deteriorates so quickly even if you polish it. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
I would say that's the only problem with that other fix is that it's gonna go back to that eventually.
Yeah,
So
pretty
I
soon.
would say honestly, your best bet if you're like if you're not willing to replace your headlights, you could go reach out to someone. But I don't see your best bet would probably just be replace them because then they'd be new. But
I was just curious.
I was looking
Yeah.
at replacement headlights for my Focus, but I mean not like in the. I was thinking more in terms of like aftermarket. They're expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah. And you can't cheap out on stuff like that because
no.
I bought some replacement door handles for my Camry, like interior, and like the holes are too small, so it's just like super. You get to pull pretty hard because the original ones, I opened it, and then the handle just snapped off, and so I just had to replace it. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna buy these expensive, OEM, Toyota handles.
You have to.
Yeah, you really do have to, especially with like
Yeah.
headlights. I mean, probably crappy plastic, anyways, if you buy the cheap kind.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, bud.
Damn. Yeah, stupid Japanese manufacturers, they have to have their shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of hoping my car does get caught in a hailstorm soon. So,
Yeah, hit him up.
Just go storm chasing. Go accidentally get caught in a tornado,
Yo,
Loan your car to
if I-
CD for 1 day.
Yeah, I'll borrow it.
If my car,
yeah.
if my car was in College Station at the apartment complex I have a lease signed for, I would have got all the hail damage replaced for free.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
They did that? Wow.
Damn.
They didn't do that here.
Yeah, there's
Because-
a free pizza thing today, and it was the last day to sign up for your free repairs from some company
Oh.
at that apartment complex.
Nah,
Correct
these
me if
guys
I'm-
were
correct me
like,
if I'm wrong, Badger, but that's what I think it said in my text I got.
you didn't pay for the covered parking? Sorry, bud.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
That is brutal.
they didn't offer anything. But I
Damn.
did pay for covered parking. Haha.
I would say, unfortunately, at my apartment, we don't have covered parking, but there's also like a parking garage right down the street, so it's not that big a deal. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I know
Wait.
one of the what's up?
Sorry, go ahead.
One of the people in one of my classes, he moved his motorcycle inside his house, just because he could.
Smart.
Really?
Smart.
That's one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expedite some shit, Blaine. Some cool stuff in space happened this week. There was an ISS crew launch. Go ahead, talk about
Yeah.
that stuff.
So there was another Crew Dragon launch up to the ISS. I don't know why there was like a little break in between when they took the Soyuz. Maybe SpaceX wasn't like ready with theirs, but this is the first time that astronauts have been sent up in a reused rocket. The
Was
space
it
shuttle. Space
same
shuttle was-
rocket and capsule, or just?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, pretty insane.
I
Pretty
believe it
fucking
was.
awesome.
Yeah. And it landed. I know SpaceX has been having some troubles with some of their boosters landing. I think they had like 3 in a row fail. Fail on fail the landing. That is. So like they did their job. They didn't land all the way, but I think they had already been used like 6 or so times. So
Nuts, dude.
it's
Awesome.
fine. I don't know if we talked about it last week. I actually don't know. It must have happened recently after the podcast. The Mars drone Ingenuity, yeah, took flight on Mars. That was
Oh
dope.
yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool.
I think it made its second flight also like yesterday or something.
Yeah, it should be making regular flights now.
Yeah.
But from what I saw from the first flight, all it did was like go up, pan around, and then like go back down. You can see how sunburned my arm is.
Jeez, yeah. Neapolitan ice cream over here. Well,
Yeah, I'm like a
just the one
salmon. I'm like a
strawberry, right?
salmon. It's like red on this side, white on this side.
To expedite my segment, the one game that I brought up a few weeks ago, being New Pokemon Snap, comes out in a week. Let me chill. I'm not gonna buy it. Too much money.
Caleb, how about your corner?
I mean, you know me.
Nothing new.
Always
Nothing new. Just same old.
yeah, nothing new. Just been playing some Melee, playing some Rocket League.
I will say,
Yeah.
yeah, I will say, I got some wings today for like mid-afternoon.
Oh sh.
After the game, I guess.
Uh-oh. It's
Alright, I
effing.
think we're good.
What's up?
Never mind. We're good.
Oh, okay.
That was
But
scary.
I had some. I didn't order them, but Graham's friend ordered them. They were like the spiciest wings on the menu, and I tried one. Really, really made me want to do a Pepper Parade podcast. We have to do that, and soon.
We need to
Soon.
get around like a table with
Yes.
some hot
I was saying, I
stuff.
should do like a Hot Ones style kind of interview. You know,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
I feel like it would be good to have a guest for that one as well, yeah.
We got what?
Yeah.
2 weeks basically till we can spread our wings and escape the tyranny of academia.
Cool.
Yeah, just about.
That's the most poetic way I could have put that, probably.
That was very poetic. 2 weeks. Shit, I need to find a job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
I have another guest next week. I don't have it lined up necessarily yet, but could have another Pog moment next week. Different guest.
This is definitely a pog moment.
Next
This
week
week
will
was-
be pretty Pog for me. But I'll leave that for next time for everyone to find out why. It'll be very
All right.
apparent upon right when this stream. If you're here in the YouTube video, thanks for watching. Hit the fucking bell. Subscribe.
One more thing.
Fuck Spotify.
To all our
listeners.
Spotify listeners out there, fuck you. All right.
PD, anything you didn't get to talk about or maybe missed?
Not really. I mean, if anyone else out there is interested, I stream every once in a while on Twitch. I usually play
Yeah, plug that shit.
like Call of Duty Cold War or like MLB The Show or something. You know, just a good chill time. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yo, if you play Valorant, we can co-stream.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'd be down for that.
Hell yeah.
We're all bad at Valorant, by the way.
You're in here now, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your Twitch username? We can plug it.
Yeah, it's twitch.tv/cdfinley00.
Oh,
Throw it in
the
the YouTube.
first.
Bet.
Hopefully, I sent the link right in the.
If we have any primers out there, sub with the Prime CD. I didn't see the. When's your Prime Day actually, CD?
My
Yeah, when's your
Prime
Prime
Day?
Day?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what that means.
CD's on a show.
Bro, you
yet?
gotta
He's
get
on
on
a
that.
show?
All right.
He's on
Yeah.
a show. Yeah, if you have that Twitch Prime,
Bro, you're not chilling?
Good, that's good.
Hit us with
Keep
that
that, keep that.
Twitch
Yeah.
primer. You know, if you subscribe, you get access to our Minecraft server that still isn't up.
It will be
That's true. We'll get on
next
that
week for
the
sure. For sure.
if you subscribe, you get access to the emotes, and you get to talk in emote only. Subscriber only chat.
Emote only. That would be insane.
Emote
Will
only has to be a
you-
VIP or a mod, and no one gets
Yeah.
VIP or mod in my chat.
Mm.
Fuck no. I mean,
Thanks for watching. You know.
yeah. Thanks
Yeah.
for watching. Who wants to send us out this week? Caleb did it the last time, I think.
I think Blaine hasn't done it.
Blaine hasn't done it in a while. I think it's Blaine's turn. Send us out.
Alright. Hey everyone. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out our channel on YouTube, The Chinos Show. And if you like any of our other content, maybe leave a comment, subscribe, you know, the usual. And to end it off, stay frosty.
Bonus. Also, I forgot to mention like 3 weeks ago. Thanks to Badger for making our new logo with the Penguino show.
It looks good.
We got our homie the Penguin with the chinos on. Check out the YouTube channel to see it. Yeah, that's all I got for bonus.
God, he's never done
Uh.
this before. I don't know what he's doing.
Thanks for chilling. We'll see you next week at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday. Peace out, guys.
Bye-bye.